students. Today, myself is Varsha from MPSC College. Today we are going to learn a grammar part, that is modal auxiliary. Now, let's see what are the modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries or modal verbs are the helping verbs which we are using in sentences that expresses the mood or the attitude of the speaker. If you use modal auxiliaries in a sentence, that sentence explains or that sentence expresses the attitude, or the sentence tell us the mood of the speaker. For that sentence or that modal auxiliary shows the ability. They can show us the possibility. They can show us permission or the necessity or the obligation or intention. So, here are some examples of the modal auxiliaries in English. That is the list of the modal auxiliaries and their functions or their uses. First, can. Can shows the use of ability. Can denotes the use of ability. When we use in a sentence, that sentence shows the ability of that person or the subject. So second one is the could. Could shows the past ability. Then next is the may. May denotes the permission. When we want any permission, for example, if you want to enter in a class, you can ask your teachers, may I come in? You take the permission. So that is may denotes the permission. Then sometimes it denotes the probability and less certainty. The next we have the example of might. Might denotes the possibility. The next one is the must. Must means obligation. Obligation, it is compulsion. It is compulsory. So whenever there is a compulsion in a sentence, we have to use as a modal auxiliary as a must. You must do this. You must follow this, for example here. So next modal auxiliary, that is should. Now should denotes our duties. Should denotes our suggestions or advice. Whenever we have to give any suggestion, anyone, or whenever you are giving any advice, that time we have to use as a modal auxiliary should. For example, we should do this, we should do that. Wake up early, you should wake up early. You should follow the instruction. So, for duty, for suggestion, for advice, you have to use should. We have the next modal auxiliary, would and could. Would and could we are using when we want to do a request for anyone. That time we have to use would and could. Could you please give me a pencil? Could you lend me your book? That time in that sentence we have to use a would or could. When you are polite, you want to request to other person, use the would and could. The next modal auxiliary we have, that is may not. May not means prohibition. What means prohibition? It is not allowed for you. When something is not allowed for you, there is a restriction for you, that time you have to use modal auxiliary may not. Then the next auxiliary is need to. Need to is indicating necessity. When there is a necessity, that time we have to use modal auxiliary need to. And the last modal auxiliary we have will. Will denotes, or will means certainty. Means should be happen something in the future. Certainty is there. So that time we have to use will. So here I am going to give you some examples. See here, first example, you can finish your work project. Now board exam, it has a 1 mark. And in a board exam, they will give a sentence like this. What is the sentence? First sentence, you can finish your project. Now into practice it is given, use modal auxiliary showing compulsion. Now when there is a compulsion, from how we understand there is a compulsion, it is given here as a compulsion. Compulsion means you use here, you have to find out the modal auxiliary can of given word sentence, and instead of that can you have to write here must. So how is the answer? You must finish your project. Understood? The next sentence here you see, it is possible that she will arrive late. Into bracket it is given, use modal auxiliary showing possibility. Here you have to find out which is the modal auxiliary used in the sentence. Now see students, see will. Will is the modal auxiliary. So instead of that you have to take might. Might denotes possibility. Got it? So how is the answer? You have to take, write like this. It is possible that she might arrive late. Now see the now here suggestion, you have to give the suggestion. So which word suggests modal auxiliary? Suggestion auxiliary from sentence. Sentence can is the modal auxiliary. Instead of that can you have to take should. Instead of can you have to take should. You write the sentence like this. She should go to the doctor because it is given a suggestion to her. So she should go to the doctor. Now see the fourth sentence. You should finish your homework before going out to play. Now here obligation. You have to use modal auxiliary showing obligation. Obligation means it is a compulsion. It is compulsion for you. So you have to find out which is the modal auxiliary already used here and remove that modal auxiliary, and instead of that you have to use compulsion or obligation. That modal auxiliary is must. So instead of should you have to use here must. So how is the answer? You must finish. Compulsion you. It is a compulsion for you to finish your work before going out to play. So you must finish your homework before going out to play. Now see the next slide. Another example. Here in this fifth sentence, we will go to the beach tomorrow if it is sunny. Use possibility. Now you have to find out here, will is the modal auxiliary, and here they says us use possibility. And which word or which modal auxiliary shows the possibility? Might. What is it? Might. So instead of will, you have to take might and write like this. We might go to the beach tomorrow if it is sunny. The next sentence is, he will write an essay. Now here, the modal auxiliary you have to use ability. Now for ability, which is the modal auxiliary? Can. Which is the modal auxiliary you have to use here? Can. So first you have to remove will, and instead of that you have to take can. So how will the answer? He can write an essay. Got it? Now see the next sentence, seventh sentence. I shall buy a scooter next month. What is the modal auxiliary here given in the bracket? That is the ability. So for ability we have to remove this shall, and you have to take can denotes the ability. So instead of shall we have to take can. So how is the answer? I can buy a scooter next month. Got it? Now see the next sentence. Students may obey their obey their parents. Here you have to give the advice, and for advice, which the modal auxiliary is shown or given, that is should. So remove this may. You have to find out which modal auxiliary is already used in the sentence, given sentence, and remove that modal auxiliary, and instead of that you have to take should. For advice it is a should. So your sentence should like this: student must student should obey their parents. Okay, now see the next one. They need to be protected. They need to be protected. Here the modal auxiliary is given as an obligation. Obligation means compulsion. So you have to remove here another modal auxiliary, that is need to. You have to remove this, and instead of that you have to take must. So your answer is like this: they must be protected. They must be protected. Got it? I think you understand this. We will see some other sentences, some other examples. Next one, 10 sentence. You should do what your teacher tells you. Here the possibility. You have to use a modal auxiliary showing possibility. And you do one thing to find out which modal auxiliary or modal verb is used here. That is the should. That is the should. You have to use, remove. Instead of should, you have to use might. You have to use might. So how will your answer? You might. You might do what your teacher tells you. Okay, now see the next example. I will teach you this lesson next month. Less certainty. When there is less certainty, we have to take may. Okay, so instead of will, we have to remove this will, and instead of will we have to take may. So here is your answer like this: I may teach. I may teach you this lesson next month. Okay, now see the next one. Can I come in? Now when you want to come inside, when you are taking a permission, that time you have to use may. Remove this can, and instead of can you have to write may, and your answer is like this: may I come in? Question mark. So the next one, will you give me a pen? It's a request. Okay, when you are doing any request you have to use could or would. So remove this will. Instead of that you use could or would. So what is the answer? Could you give me a pen? Or would you give me a pen? Okay, would you give me a pen? And the next one, they can enter the class. A prohibition is there. So when there is a prohibition, it is not allowed for you. That time you have to use a modal auxiliary. Instead of can, may not. May not shows or may not denotes the prohibition. That is, they may not enter the class. Okay, now the last slide, this one, and then we will stop here. Okay, see the next. He will see Mrs. Addis stooping over the fire. Here the ability modal auxiliary is given. So instead of will, one minute. Instead of will, we have to take can. Can denotes the ability. So how is our answer? He can see Mrs. Addis stooping over the fire. Okay. The next, you should not wait any longer. You should not wait any longer. Necessity. For necessity, the modal auxiliary is used as a need not or need to. Instead of should, you have to use you need not. You need not to wait. We need not to wait any longer. Okay. Next, we would treat him gently. Here, the advice is given, so we have to use should. You should treat him gently. And he will pay the ability. So for ability, we have to use can. Instead of will, we have to take can. He can pay the fare. And the last sentence, he will come tomorrow. Possibility. For possibility, might is there. So instead of will, we have to take might. He might come tomorrow. Okay. I think student, you understand the modal auxiliaries very well. If there is any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you for this video.